Newman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. And AM 630.
WMAL. It's 8:37 on the Morning Majority, February 29th, leap day. I actually have a friend who's having a birthday today. I have two friends who are having a birthday today. One is turning 10/40, and the other one, I guess, is turning... I'd have to do the math on that. I'll get back to you. Let's talk to Bob COSTA from the National Review about Michigan. How's it going, Bob? Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, let me ask you this. So I was a little bit surprised that Santorum didn't pull it off in Michigan last night. I had watched Romney get surprised himself in Colorado when it looked like he was ahead right before that happened, and I thought, well, it does feel like the momentum might be in Santorum's favor. What do you think happened there? What's your diagnosis?
My diagnosis is pretty simple, is that Romney was the local boy and that he closes well in a lot of these states because of his organizational and financial advantage. And I think the real test is going to be on Super Tuesday in Ohio. That's still the Rust Belt, but it's close to Pennsylvania, it's close to Michigan. But Romney had so many built-in advantages in Michigan that even though Santorum did very well in the West, in the rural parts of the state, not so much in the Detroit suburbs where you need organization and money, I think Ohio is the test for Santorum, not so much Michigan. I always expected Romney to win by 3 or 4.
And then the obvious question, though, is, because I think Santorum is winning, or at least leading in the polls in Ohio, does Michigan change it? Or is it just a blip? Well, I mean, nobody knows the answer, but if you had to guess, what do you think?
I think even Santorum advisors, when you speak to them, they acknowledge on background that Michigan does matter. It was critical for Romney. They needed a real win in Michigan. If Santorum was able to win Michigan, Romney's entire campaign, his entire argument about electability would have almost collapsed. The party would have been in chaos. Santorum's in a strong position, but not an excellent position going into Ohio. Well, he didn't do well in Arizona, but that doesn't really matter. That's a Romney stronghold. He did okay in Michigan, got some delegates. I think what you see Santorum doing now is he has to fight a two-front war. He's in Tennessee today, going all around that state, because he's saying to himself, and this is what his advisors tell me, is that Gingrich is hanging around. He has to have some strong victories in the South. He has to try to push Gingrich out of this race. He has to make this a two-man race against Romney. So he's looking not only at Ohio, at Tennessee, Georgia, Oklahoma. He sees some opportunity there because Romney's going to do well in, of course, Massachusetts. He's going to do well in Virginia because Santorum's not on the ballot there. Romney will do well in Vermont. Romney will probably do well in Idaho, strong Mormon population in those states. So where are Santorum's openings? The South and Ohio.
Now, there's been some talk about the possible Romney-Ron Paul alliance. They're sort of both attacking Santorum. Ron Paul, of course, in the debate, taking a lot of whacks at Santorum, which can only benefit Mitt Romney. They're running similar ads attacking Santorum. Is there any there? I know you talked to somebody in Santorum camp who believes there might be.
Yeah, I mean, every time you talk to Santorum's camp, they believe there is something there. I don't see it. You guys have all covered Ron Paul. You probably all spoke to him and met him. If anyone would make a deal, it would not be Ron Paul.
He doesn't seem like that guy.
Right. I think Santorum's people are they're I guess rightfully concerned that there seems to be a little bit of a coordination during these debates. But I think that's more Ron Paul just focused on his own message. I don't think he's working with Mitt Romney. I doubt he's cut a deal of any sort. And until I see evidence, I'm not going to believe any of this.
Heading into Michigan, there were some sort of diversions along the way. Rick Santorum got hung up talking about contraception and social issues. And then at the very end, Mitt Romney had some gaffes about, his wife having 2 Cadillacs and not setting his hair on fire and this bad optics of giving a speech at Ford Field. Do you think any of that mattered?
No, Matt, you and I disagree on this because I think, look, Romney's buying 2 Cadillacs. I think it maybe helps him in Michigan. He's a wealthy guy buying 2 American cars, luxury cars. Who else is going to buy these American luxury cars? Only Mitt Romney has the money, it seems, in America. So why not? He better be buying 2 Caddies. And I don't think the Ford Field thing mattered. If you looked at the coverage in the Detroit papers, looked at Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, what are they talking about? They're not talking about the bad optics, the bad political visuals in Ford Field. Those people in Michigan like Ford Field. They don't care so much that it's empty. About 1,200 people are there. So I think that was much more of a chattering class story. I think Romney really was able to close. And I think you did hit on a great point just there. Santorum was distracted. He's talking too much about JFK and puke, talking too much about contraception. Where was that manufacturing message? Where was that economic agenda?
Well, and moving forward, it's hard for me to tell whether I think Santorum feels strongly about these issues, feels confident talking about them, so he sort of follows reporters down whatever road they lead him, which can be a weakness. But it also can shore up evangelical and religious votes. Which way do you think he's going to go moving forward? Is he going to stay away from those issues, or is he going to just double down on that and shore up votes in Ohio?
He's not going to stay away from him because one of the core appeals of Santorum, and his campaign recognizes this, is that he's extemporaneous, he's off the cuff, he engages reporters. Romney never holds press availability, but Santorum holds tons of opportunities to do that. He always prays with people, he engages. But I think you are going to see Santorum try to be a little more disciplined with his words. His campaign strategists acknowledge that he's not picking the best lingo all the time on the trail. He needs to get better, especially as his campaign goes national.
Let me ask you about Romney's comments. He said, "I'm not going to set my hair on fire," basically to woo the base, and that you can say incendiary things, and that will make people happy, and that's basically the easy thing to do, and he's just not going to do that. That betrays a certain amount of condescension towards the base, which I'm just not sure is going to play real well. Does he have what it takes to make the appeal he needs to make?
I'm still not so sure about that, Mary Catherine. I mean, you're right. The phrases he uses are his main gaffes. He cannot connect. I think the speech last night was very indicative of it was probably Mitt Romney's best speech in a long time. He didn't try to appeal to people. He didn't try to be one of us. He didn't try to say, I'm one of you. He spent very little. Think about this. The guy grew up in Detroit. He spends about 5 seconds talking about Michigan and his roots. Because I guess he acknowledged to himself backstage or beforehand that he just can't connect, he can't click, so don't even try. Make it about winning, make it about electability, make it about Obama. But I think you're right. I don't think a lot of conservatives, when you're on the trail, you don't see a lot of energy. There's still an enthusiasm gap. Santorum has exposed that. I think Romney may have had a great night in terms of really coming back in the organization, finances. But you saw him mention in his website last night, he knows that he has a small donor problem. There are not a lot of people donating to his campaign. It's been really reliant on super PACs and big bundlers. And so as this campaign goes deep into the spring, he's going to have to adjust, maybe shake up his campaign team, start to think of a new way to connect with conservatives, because it's not going to be enough just to coast on the GOP establishment.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Bob Costa of National Review. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks.